Okay. Hi there, my name is Michael Rose. I lead information and product security at a company called Vertiv. I am the CISO. I previously led as the Senior Director of Global Cyber and Physical Security at Citrix Systems. I led both physical and cybersecurity. I live in the Detroit, Michigan, Ann Arbor area, and I've attended Penn State, and my interest definitely lies in cybersecurity through and through. Vertiv is a publicly traded company on the New York Stock Exchange. We supply critical infrastructure that enables businesses to run in a continuous manner, regardless of the situation, from a continuity perspective. And we're based in Westerville, Ohio, and we do business in over 130 countries. CISO challenges. There's some old, there's many new. We all know that the attack surface is ever expanding with many abstractions of the cloud and people moving applications from on-premise environments to the cloud, hosting in the cloud, moving to SaaS applications. People are connecting data in ways that was never thought possible. And it's ever important to discover things as fast as possible. Exploits, as we know, are becoming automated, especially with some of the newer technologies like generative AI. People who have less skills are now able to weaponize things faster than ever before. And as we've seen recently with some of the 0 days, remediation just can't keep up. External asset visibility is a forever growing challenge, and being able to detect things as soon as they appear on a network or are presented to the internet is of the utmost importance. Security needs to be holistic and consolidate different needs, and we have to keep in mind that there's only so many resources a CISO gets, and that includes both people and technology. So those decisions around what tools are selected and how many people you have working on different tasks is more important than ever. Cyber risk is just becoming a business of risk, and it's important to understand that the CISO's role is ever growing in the area of risk and better defining risk, better communicating risk, and ensuring all people are aware of the potential risk a vulnerability might present and how to communicate that to avoid something like a breach. The end goal is ultimately have a risk-based approach. You want to be prepared and you want to be proactive. You don't want to be reactive. And having that risk-based approach helps you identify and protect what's most important to your organization. And it also helps you prioritize those limited resources you have towards remediating what needs to be fixed. So discovery is of the utmost importance. It's very critical to discover something as fast as possible, whether it's a vulnerability, whether you have a requirement to improve system hardening, whether it's reducing the time you detect. All those things are critical elements to an appropriate program that ensures that when something occurs, you can properly discover it. You have to be able to assess. So once you discover it, you have to be able to assess what the impact is of the vulnerability, what the potential impact could be. Ensure that your assessment and the detection are holistic. You can discover assets. You can discover your vulnerabilities. You can ensure your certificates are current in life. They're not expired. And you can meet all the regulatory requirements that are expected of you based on the nature of the business you conduct. Again, prioritization is critical. It's because we, again, have limited resources, and you have to prioritize what's most exposed to a threat actor, and that's the point of using a tool that can give you that holistic external attack surface picture. And once you discover, you assess, you prioritize, and remediate, you have to be able to rapidly fix. So you have to be able to decide how you're going to treat the risk, whether you're going to just accept it and say, hey, I can live with that. B, you go ahead and remediate it, or C, you mitigate it in some other manner, such as a different architecture or constraining access to something, preventing the bad guy from actually accessing it. So it's a holistic approach. But as we all know, it's easier said than done. So asset management, it's complex. Not many people do it well. That's why it's important to have an intrinsically linked vulnerability management tool with your asset inventory tool. You can then use that information to enumerate where those assets are located, whether it's in an internet-facing environment or it's in your internal network, and you can prioritize. And that's where you want to connect it with your CMDB, and you want to be able to rapidly assign remediation and patch management. And you have to, again, have full visibility both on-prem, in the cloud, wherever the assets may be. They present risks, and you have to be able to quickly remediate and detect vulnerabilities. So vulnerability is a greater thing than just managing endpoints. You have servers, you have cloud infrastructure that you're accountable to. It depends on your abstraction layer of the cloud, whether it's IaaS, PaaS, and other things like SaaS and the like, container-based workloads. You have to be able to rapidly discover what vulnerabilities might be present in which cloud environment and the requirements that come with remediation, whether you have to have visibility into APIs that connect things up, whether you have the obligation to patch the underlying operating system, or you simply have to ensure that you're paying attention to emerging threats and risks so you can ensure your SaaS partners are doing what they need to do and protecting your environment, because you are placing a certain level of trust in their hands. Ultimately, you want to be able to detect threats and have an extended response capability and be able to understand what you need to do, when you need to do it, and who's going to do that work. And lastly, at the end of the day, you have to meet the compliance requirements of your own customers and give them assurance you're doing exactly what you need to do in alignment with the many alphabet soup of regulations out there. PCI DSS, SOX, HIPAA, HITECH, FINRA, GDPR, all the good things that come with data privacy and beyond. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you need to then be able to capture all this in one easy to view and interpret dashboard so you can rapidly detect and view what needs to be seen and make quick actions, make quick decisions, take action, and understand what your risk exposure looks like. It starts with asset discovery. Asset discovery is critical because if you don't know what you have, how are you going to protect it? So having a unified inventory with cyber risk assigned to it, what's coming end of life, and what's facing your external internet attack surface is really important. And then being able to quickly integrate with your CMDB and your ITSM platform so you can, one, you know who owns the asset from a management perspective within your organization. And then two, you can assign a quick remediation ticket to fix something that needs to be fixed. So let me step back and tell you a little bit about our asset discovery and risk reduction journey. We're a global provider of data center infrastructure and resilience services. We provide equipment to both cloud service providers and most of industry alike. Our equipment can be found in retail environments that ensures that systems don't go down or systems can be remotely controlled. We were founded back in 1965 as a company called Liebert. But in recent years, we were reconstituted into a new company called Vertiv Corporation. Vertiv is made up of many different companies that were merged together over a quick period of inorganic growth. Our headquarters is located in Columbus, Ohio. That said, we have a global presence. We're located in almost every country across the globe. We have approximately 28,000 employees with a revenue of $6 billion annually. Our objective is to provide continuity and assurance to all of our customers. Our needs, when it came to selecting the right tool, were holistic and risk-based approach. When we talk about inorganic growth, which is something I just mentioned in the prior screen, it's important to understand that Vertiv had to rapidly and seamlessly merge many different companies together. And with that comes the unknowns that you discover as you perform that activity. That integration can be rather complex. And we needed a capability that enabled us to see all of our assets and resources in one single pane of glass. Part of our needs focused on mergers and acquisitions. I've mentioned that already, that Vertiv has grown inorganically in a very rapid manner. It's important to realize that when you merge one company with another, the objective is to grow and to maintain and even expand your revenue earning capability. And you cannot put yourself in a position where technology slows you down. So having a tool that was highly capable and agile and can be deployed quickly and can quickly discover an inventory systems was one of the key elements behind our need for this holistic solution. We had to then ensure that all the suppliers who provide us services, regardless of where they are worldwide, they're aligned to our security standards. And those standards are upheld, and we have the ability to validate the efficacy of their programs, and we can rapidly detect any changes that might put us at risk. Again, we also uphold ourselves to a very high level of security when it comes to the building and development and the ultimate distribution of our products. We ensure at every step of production, from requirements to development to manufacturing, until it lands in the hands of our customers, that our security standards are met, they're continuously validated, and when a problem or opportunity does arise to correct a vulnerability which has recently emerged, we can rapidly react and get the fix into our customers' hands as soon as possible. Again, those critical requirements include expanded augmented vulnerability management with a robust asset discovery capability. We had to have visibility across hybrid, complex IT environments that had to be persistent. It had to be something that was continuous. And as we acquire a new organization and merge that entity into the greater Vertiv, we had to be able to detect things that were exposed to the internet. And we also had to know how to prioritize those things and those risks, the vulnerabilities, in for remediation in a way that ensures that they're reacted to and remediated in the appropriate order. Keeping the prioritization of how we remediate things is critical because, again, like I mentioned earlier, we're still operating with the same number of headcount and the same number of staff. Detecting end-of-life and end-of-support is a core element to any proactive risk avoidance strategy. And we all know that once something becomes end-of-life and end-of-support, there are no more security patches. People stop paying attention. The manufacturer is focused on new things. They're not paying attention to threats that are evolving. So it's always important to ensure your technology stack is in support. Unauthorized software. One of our critical requirements is the rapid detection of unauthorized software. When we detect things like OpenOffice or freeware, and we're already buying an enterprise license, it's most likely a situation where there's a lack of understanding within the business unit, and they simply need to be contacted and informed, hey, we have a commercial version with far more features than you could have ever imagined or ever gotten out of a freeware product. those freeware products are nice if you're operating as an independent person, not in a major corporation where you have to ensure that your network is secure. And it's not just secure for yourself, it's secure to provide assurance to your customers. So our ability to detect unauthorized software and steer business units in the correct direction was a very critical requirement. And we take every step we can. As soon as this software is detected, we remove it. Blind spots, they happen all the time. One minor configuration can lead to an unintended outcome. And understanding where those blind spots occur, and again, the risk-based approach, if that blind spot has occurred in an internet-facing environment, it has to be rapidly detected and rapidly remediated. And understanding from our tool, which is the mean time to detect and respond, those are just the basics, the most fundamental aspect of any tool that informs and enables a risk-based approach. We've driven a lot of great outcomes with Qualys. We've gone from a limited visibility to a risk-based vulnerability approach, which can then allow us to dynamically prioritize teams to focus on the most significant and critical. And so we've adopted a risk-based vulnerability prioritization approach. It means that when we discover a vulnerability, we can then prioritize it regardless of when it was discovered. So we may not immediately go to patch a low that's been lingering around a lot longer than a critical. We're going to focus on the critical, even if it was just released within the last few hours. We will prioritize based on criticality. Some of the other outcomes is significantly reducing the mean time to remediate or mean time to patch. That goes hand in hand with the vulnerability prioritization. So we can now categorize by risk, and we can clearly show the mean time to patch, which says we have that risk-based approach. We have then quantified the efficacy or the effect of the program. So we've saved security teams resource time. No more sitting in spreadsheets trying to sort out what's most important. We can then prioritize, again, patching based on criticality of the asset and the severity of the vulnerability. We are now able to quantify that we meet SLAs that we've set internally to ensure that we have detected and have inventoried our infrastructure, and we can detect end of life or unauthorized software and beyond. Thank you very much.